Let's give it a few moments. Let's see who else shows up. Might take a little bit of time, but and I got the fan on, so zero people so far, but well, let's say the intro. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with this brand new live stream. And this live stream is going to be for yet another Q&A. My second one I've done so far. So yeah, you know, the rules is Q&A. You guys can ask me whatever questions you want, but no inappropriate questions or anything like that. No personal questions, like no real name questions, no where I live questions, none of those questions, please. I don't reveal that stuff on here. So yeah, but other than that, you guys can go ahead and ask me anything, whatever you want. Like the last Q&A. Yeah. Then I see one person's already there. But well, I will say this. This summer this is pretty much the last day of August. And this summer's already coming to an end. And we're getting into the fall season. Yeah. And pretty much the fall season is actually very great. We got holidays like Thanksgiving and in my area in October. And of course Halloween, my favorite season of the year. Well, there's two of those anyways, but Halloween is my #1 favorite. There's not really much worth hyping coming out in the fall. I mean, all the delayed releases have pretty much kind of been released. All the delayed releases that were supposed to come out in 2020 have already been released, and some stuff has once again moved to 2023. Well, at least I still have Halloween Ends and Black Adam. Lucamus has already joined. Perfect timing. But I still have Halloween Ends and Black Adam this October, at least. And then I still need to get on to watching Orphan First Kill, but the reason I haven't watched First Kill yet is because I think I want to rewatch the first Orphan first before I do that. Review Orphan there. And then review Orphan First Kill. I still need to watch Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. I still need to reluctantly watch Prey. Well, but yeah, and I'm going to see the Spider-Man No Way Home extended cut this Thursday, tomorrow night. So that will be a plus. At least, I think of and get this. Oh, what do I think is the most underrated Spielberg film? Yeah, what can I think of? War of the Worlds from 2005. That, I think, is the most underrated Spielberg movie. I get people hate it. A lot of people seem to hate it, but I think it's not that bad. Yeah, I can't blame you on that one, Lucamus. I'm not excited to watch Prey either after the 2018 Predator shitfest. But yeah, War of the Worlds is the most underrated Spielberg movie for me. For the ones he directed. When it comes to the ones he, well, produced, yes, definitely right about that one. True Fire Pink Guys joined as well. That new Winnie the Pooh horror movie, what did I think of it? Why would you make a children's character a horror film? God, I can't wait for that movie to fail bad. That movie's going to stink. No one's going to watch that. A Winnie the Pooh themed horror movie? Yeah, no. My favorite movie character of all time? that would probably have to be both Vito Corleone and Darth Vader. Those are my two favorite movie characters of all time, Shadow. I, like they're both very similar. They're both cinematic fathers. They're both anti-heroes or antagonists, and they're both very well-written characters with pretty good backstories. I also do want to explain some of we all know Halloween Horror Movie Review Season 3 is coming up next month. So yeah, I'm going to start around September again. The final week of September anyways, September 26th. And the films I'm going to be reviewing are, let me see, I'll pull it up. Let me just go on here for a second and I can pull up this list somewhere. Alright, just give me a moment, guys. Bad qualities of the original Blade Runner movie. Mine are that it can be slow and usually night only without much daylight scenes. Yeah, I have to say the same bad qualities as you. Same ones. Okay, I pulled up the list. Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 3, or Season 3 schedule. Insidious. Whenever I watched Thor Love and Thunder in theaters, for some reason I couldn't stop thinking of Kratos and I see gore on screen. Well, it's cool. That's cool. I'm MCU retired, so I didn't really watch it. And I've heard some pretty bad things about it. I've heard Thor Love and Thunder was pretty bad. And I'm not surprised. Like, the trailers just made the film look goofy, and it's clear the multiverse saga has no idea what it's doing because they're just rushing the whole saga. They're not giving it any time. They're just rushing the whole thing, like making only 4 years long. Take a look at the Infinity Saga. The Infinity Saga started in 2008, ended in 2019. Had perfect 11 years of build-up. Had perfect development of all the characters, gave them perfect timing, and had a well-developed plan the whole time. Like, the Infinity Saga had a plan from the start. The Multiverse Saga is basically going, hey, let's take this, shove it in there, take this, shove it in there, take this, shove it in there, all for fan service. It's like they basically just looked at the success of Spider-Man No Way Home. And like, hey, people love these. Like, they don't understand what made No Way Home good was because it was, like, No Way Home had good fan service for good reasons. Like, it still gave the characters roles, and it didn't just throw them in as cameos just to get excited reactions. Like, Toby and Andrew in No Way Home, maybe they didn't really appear till near the end, but they still had important parts of the story. They still played a role. Even the villains even played a role in No Way Home. That's why No Way Home worked perfectly well. It was, yeah, like No Way Home is probably the only Phase 4 movie I liked. And you're probably thinking, didn't you like Black Widow? Well, yeah, but Black Widow's technically a Phase 3 movie, not a Phase 4 movie. That movie should have been released instead of Captain Marvel. We should have had that instead. But anyway. Alright, the Halloween Horror Movie Review Season 3 schedule. Our first place Insidious, then I'll be reviewing Poltergeist, then I'll be reviewing the Blair Witch Project, then I'll be reviewing that stop motion film Corleone, and then the fifth episode is going to not really be a horror movie, but it's kind of weird to reviewing this in Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 3, but I remembered the first season I reviewed Requiem for a Dream. Woken Blunder, good name. I remember in the first season of Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 2 years ago, back when I started YouTube, I had reviewed Requiem for a Dream, and that's not really a horror movie, but it is considered a pretty terrifying film, so I decided to include it. Number 5 is going to be for actually also a non-horror movie, but not for an addiction one. It's based off a George Orwell novel called 1984. Yes, 1984 is going to be number 5, and I have reasons. People won't stop talking about it. It's apparently based off a really popular novel, and it stars the late John Hurt. So yeah. So I think it deserves a review. Then the 6, Damien Omen 2. Number 7, Exorcist 2, Heretic. Oh God. Kill me. 8th, The Fly 1986 remake. 9th will be The Final Week in Omen 3. Number 10 will be Insidious Chapter 2. Number 11 will be The Exorcist 3, a better sequel. Number 12 will be Mirrors. Number 13 and 14 will be 2 Wes Craven originals. The Lost House on Left, 1972, and The Hills Have Eyes, 1977. Number 15 will be for a bad Wes Craven movie called Cursed. Number 16 will be a TV sequel, Omen 4 The Awakening. Number 17 will be an ultimate Alfred Hitchcock classic, Psycho, 1960, one I've been long waiting to review. A classic in the horror genre that really kicked off the slasher genre. And then number 18 will be The Fly 2. Number 19 will be Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Yeah, that's going to be very fun. Number 20 will be The Omen 2006. Yeah, the 2006 shot-for-shot remake with Lee Schreiber in it. Number 21 will be Insidious Chapter 3. Episode 22 will be Psycho 2. Episode 23 will be Jaws, the first one, thankfully. Only the first one. And then episode 24 will be the top scariest non-horror movie moments, where I talk about scary scenes from... There are scary scenes from films that are not horror movies. And then the season finale will be the 1968 Night of the Living Dead original. So yeah, there's the roundup for this year. I haven't seen it either, so I can't really say anything about it, but that's going to be your lineup for this year. So yeah. September I might hopefully try to catch up on some releases I didn't end up, on those streaming releases I missed, like the new Beavis and Butthead movie, Prey, whatever, and Orphan First Kill. Well, after I rewatched the first Orphan first, and see what I think of those films, because I still need to review the first Orphan movie. Like, for those of you who are wondering, obviously asking, yes, I have seen the first Orphan movie. I love the first one a lot. I think that's one of the most underrated horror films of the 2000s. Then DJ Disney asks, what are your thoughts on the Paranormal Activity movies? Well, I'm not the biggest fan of Paranormal Activity. The first one was okay. The second one was bad. Third one was also alright. There were some good moments in the third one. And then 4, 5, 6, I could give less of a shit about. I saw the sixth one, the Ghost Dimension, in the theaters, and I gotta tell you, like, the whole theater just booed when that movie ended. Well, I'll keep that in mind. True Fire Pink Guy. Like, almost everyone booed when the Ghost Dimension ended. Like, wow. Okay, worst or weakest movie you've seen by your favorite director? Tough one. Well, I think with George Lucas, there's probably Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Although, even though I don't hate that movie, I do consider it his weakest, oh wait, no, he didn't. That's actually Steven Spielberg. Well, technically George Lucas produced it, so it could be kind of considered both. That's both their weakest film. For sure, but I don't necessarily hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it's definitely the worst Indiana Jones movie. I mean, definitely not 4 out of 10 terrible, but still pretty bad. So that could be a big pick. And from Sam Raimi did produce quite a lot of stinkers in the 2000s. I mean, there was the 2005 horror film Boogeyman, there was the Grudge movies, and man, I can't think of what else he produced. There was a lot of terrible horror films of the 2000s. Those cheap January films through his Ghost House Pictures company. Well, those are some suggestions. For sure. Um, my, yeah, I can't think of other directors, really. I kind of don't like, I try not to pay too much attention to a lot of directors' filmographies these days. No. Sorry, guys, I can't think of others. I'm still waiting, just waiting for some other questions. And to say, well, now when it comes to the fall releases, only ones I'm really excited for are Black Adam. We'll see how that goes. Halloween Ends, I'll still give a watch, but it'll be the last Halloween movie I'm watching, and I'm gonna retire from the Halloween franchise after that. But I'm also a little worried for Halloween Ends, because from everything I've been hearing so far, it's not giving me some good thoughts. Like, apparently Jamie Lee Curtis has said Halloween Ends is gonna piss off fans, and that leaves me a little worried. So, I really hope that doesn't turn out to be too true, and it ends up being slightly alright, but yeah, as much as now I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, as always, decently enjoyed Halloween. Thoughts on Nostalgia Critic, true. Well, he used to be funny, but he's not too funny anymore, really. I did think he was a pretty funny reviewer in high school, but he's kind of declined over the years, and I'm not too big of a fan of him anymore. I think he just overreacts a little too much, and nowadays, and it's kind of, I have a feeling his channel is kind of starting to just run out of review ideas, and so yeah, I'm not too big of a Nostalgia Critic fan anymore. The reviewers I now like I've moved on to are either Chris Stunkman, Cody Leach, Rambo Rat for Life, OCP Communications, and quite a few better ones I've seen over time. Now a little more, some better professional ones. Oh, and Sean Sandler. Almost forgot about Sean Sandler. Can't forget him. And I will say Empire Fan Productions, back when he did do live streams and movie reviews before he retired from those, and now just posts clips and stuff, but there's times when he will post a score of a movie he's seen in his community post for a little while, and depends on what he thought of the film, or will even say his thoughts on a certain film. If he joins a Saturday night chat, I usually join on Luke and Miss Prime's channel, join the few rare chats he's able to join, and but yeah, them I kind of watch more when it comes to them. Now when it comes to the best movie I've seen this summer, that would probably have to be Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was probably the best movie this summer, for sure. Ironically, it came out at the start of the summer. My favorite video game is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is my favorite video game of all time. Like, I really enjoy the gameplay of it, the story of it, and here, yeah, the artwork is very good as well, and yeah, and Red Dead Redemption 2 I also enjoyed as second favorite game. And my third favorite game would be Spider-Man 2018 for the PS4. My thoughts on the sequel we're getting in 2023. I am excited for it, but on the sad side of things, unfortunately, it's going to only be available for the PS5. And I would get a PS5, but they are crazy expensive. And I already have a PS4. So, like, why can't we just have it for the PS4? Like, they're still making games for the PS4. Like, I don't want to have to buy over $700 PS5 just so I can play the second Spider-Man game. And see what happens next, and just to see Tony Todd as Venom. Like, what? That's what's really getting me hyped for it. They're actually getting Tony Todd to voice Venom in the game. yeah, aka Candyman, and I will say to some degree The Fallen, even though The Fallen was so wasted in that Revenge of the Fallen movie, where it just, yeah, the Transformers villain who just comes into the film just to get smashed to pieces within 10 seconds by Optimus Prime the minute he gets revived. Yeah, that weak villain. Like, wow. Nice choice. I've never played those games. I never played God of War. And and I still do need to finish playing Last of Us, because I haven't been playing a lot of video games in a long time because it's the summer. Like, the summer is kind of a time where you get out and not. I usually don't want to spend my summer in the house all day playing video games. Like, during the summer, I usually like to get out a little more. So most of the time I play video games, it's either the fall, winter, or spring. Nice choices. Yeah, the times when usually nobody goes out, or it's rainy, then I play video games. Or when I've kind of got nothing to do, I can't really go out because it's either too cold, too rainy. So then I'll play a video game. But yeah, once that happens, should hopefully get back to finish playing The Last of Us, because the first one, anyways, because I'm really liking the game so far. And for those of you who are asking, are you going to get Last of Us Part 2? No. Yeah, you're not wrong there, True Fire Pink Guy. That's why I'm going to stop watching the franchise after Halloween ends. Because I hear it's not even going to be the final Halloween movie. It's just going to be the final one under Blumhouse. And then, but eventually they're still going to make more, but Halloween Ends is going to be the last one I'm watching. And then I'm going to stop. Because there's the thing, guys. There's certain franchises that need to come to an end. Can't just keep continuing the same story over and over and over again. Like, we saw that happen with Star Wars. It's happening with Marvel. Like, when franchises get a story continued after they perfectly end, those sequels don't get liked. For good reasons. Because they're not needed cash grabs, or they just force in propagandas. So yeah, the only really sequel I'm really excited for the most, yeah, agreed. However, the only sequel or movie in general I've really been excited for the most is John Wick 4. I've been excited and waiting for 4 years for John Wick 4. That's probably the one sequel or movie I've been really excited for so far. Now that I am crazy hyped to see. But even that franchise is going to need to come to an end at some points. I mean, I know Keanu Reeves said he wants to do more films, but yeah, it's a good choice. Just don't do the same franchise over and over again. I don't want this happening to John Wick next, of all franchises. But I really hope John Wick 4 still keeps the franchise trend going where there's no bad films. I mean, because all three of the first movies were excellent, and some of the few rare action movies of the 2010s to still be good. Well, this can I think of, but well, now this weekend I was at Spirit of Halloween, and because I needed to figure out who I'm going to be for Halloween this year, and my 3 picks. And I'm only going to be one of them, but my top 3 picks are down to either Michael Myers, or Chucky, or Ghostface. It depends on which costume they have first, but I'm going to get my costume in September. When there's probably way more options. I might get a second costume for Fan Expo 2023. Like, I really hope, like, they have a... Yeah, I know there's a Wolverine game coming out. Too. I know that. I am going to get a second costume, likely going to get a second costume for Fan Expo around October, because I kind of want to be more of a comic book or or other different franchise character. Like, I really hope they have a adult Mando costume to go with my Mando helmet. Because if they do, then I could be the Mandalorian for Fan Expo and stuff and stuff. Or I know when I was there, they did have an adult Batman costume from both Dark Knight, both Batman vs Superman, and the new Batman 2022 film. Well, I didn't. Wow, you're lucky, DJ Disney. I didn't see them. I didn't see any animatronics of them at this Halloween store, sadly. But you're very, you probably have the luckiest Halloween store. I wish mine had those. But yeah, they did have. So, or I'll probably just be Batman for Fan Expo. Either version. Then when it. Sorry guys, I'm just lost in thoughts. Now when it comes to the worst films I've seen so far this year, well, I haven't really watched too many bad stuff this year. The only really bad stuff I've watched was definitely the 355, Turning Red, Morbius, it's Morbin time. Yeah, the film that became a damn meme all over the internet. But yeah, and got re-released because of a meme. And you want to know what happened to the re-release? Nobody saw it. Yeah, that's not a shock because it's terrible. I bet everyone's always blaming these box office bombs on the pandemic. Like, no. The reason films like the 355 bombed was because they're shit. Nobody liked them. But moving on. I don't know what to think of, but I am excited for fall and I hopefully, and so far this year's just been alright, really. The Adventures of Buck Wild, I didn't see that. Almost everybody was telling me not to see it. So that is not a shock. Everyone was telling me not to see the Buck Wild film. And I lucked out. It's plus it's a dump to Disney Plus spec movie. Yeah, it's a cash grab aimed for that stupid Disney service that's killing Netflix. Like, maybe Disney Plus sounds cool, but the fact you have to actually pay money to stream a movie on there is a no. No. I'm not gonna pay over $50 or $30 or $40 just to watch something I can watch on Netflix for free. Yeah, I guess you made a good decision too. But yeah, I did not get Disney Plus because I'm not getting ripped off of more dollars, okay? Like, I prefer Netflix. People can, even if it may be going down a lot of times, I would rather watch Netflix because at least I don't have to pay $30 to download something from them, and I can just simply watch stuff without having to. I can simply just watch their things on Netflix. Well, I didn't see Home Sweet Home Alone either, and I lucked out at that too. Even Lucas Prime didn't see Home Sweet Home Alone because he was done with Home Alone after so many other bad sequels we had to get through, like 3, Taking Back the House, The Holiday Heist. Yeah, aka the 5th movie that starred Malcolm McDowell of all fucking people. That dude was in films like A Clockwork Orange around the 70s, and in the 2000s. Only thing Hollywood gave him was shitty reboots, shitty sequels, shitty directed DVD films. Were the best you could get. Like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, The Holiday Heist, and another Rob Zombie movie, 31. Yeah, don't watch the other Home Alone movies, please. Yeah, don't watch the other Home Alone movies. The first 2 are the only good ones. You're doing a good thing there, DJ Disney. Please do avoid the rest. else I can think of, and my mind all. I'll be right back, guys. All right. What did I miss? Hope I didn't miss anything else. Uh, yeah. Yeah, DVDs are like the problems with the other three Home Alone films. Home Alone 3, the kid's not even home alone. He's sick in bed for a reason, and which ruins the whole meaning of Home Alone. Home Alone 4 has the McAllisters back, but not even the original cast, and has no connection to the first two movies whatsoever. And then Home Alone 5, oh, and Kevin McAllister's not even Home Alone, or aka Fake McAllister as I call Home Alone 4's version. And then Home Alone 5, not Home Alone, because his sister is trapped in the basement the whole entire fifth film. Yeah. Yeah, even though Home Alone 4 is technically thinks it has Kevin, it's not even Kevin. In the slightest. Because it's not Macaulay Culkin. And he doesn't even look around Kevin's age by Home Alone 2. So what was the point of that? So what was even the point of that? Well, I'm trying to think of other questions to... Oh, I did get... When I got back from my trip, I got something. Yeah. When I got back from my trip last week, or 2 weeks ago, I got this. There's an extended edition on here that's apparently 13 minutes longer, so I can't wait to check the extended edition of this out. And hopefully I'll like the extended edition better. Because I did see Dominion in theaters, was not a big fan of it, not a big fan of the theatrical cut that was shown in theaters, and so I hope this extended edition can improve my thoughts. But most of the summer, guys, I haven't really been to the theater much this summer. Most of the summer I was just out sightseeing, either on a trip or just focusing on work, just chilling at home, or yeah. Well, Jurassic Park 1, well, DJ Disney, if you do watch the rest of the franchise, Jurassic Park, the first one is phenomenal. The Lost World is actually a pretty good sequel. I think I like it better than most people. I think it's the last really good one of the series. Jurassic Park 3 is awful. Jurassic World is alright. I think it's a little overrated. Fallen Kingdom I don't like, and so far the theatrical cut of Dominion is also alright. But theatrical cut anyways, I haven't seen the extended cut yet, so we'll just have to see which cut is better. But yeah. Sorry guys, I'm just lost in thought. But I have that noise because I have the sliding door open, and the very final week, the summer's usually been very chill when it comes to heat temperatures, but like the very final few weeks of summer have been so boiling hot. Like I'm glad. Thoughts on the Room 2003? I've heard it's so terrible. It's good. I mean, I've seen the movie. I've seen the biography film that's based off the making of that movie, The Disaster Artist, and I have seen clips of The Room. But I've heard it is terrible, laughably terrible. But I have seen The Disaster Artist, and I did like The Disaster Artist. Mm-hmm. But I might have to check it out. The dumbest horror protagonist from any horror films. That's a tough one. There are a lot of dumbasses. There are a lot of dumbasses who lead horror movies. Almost every horror movie has a dumbass. Quite a number of horror movies have a dumbass as their protagonist, but I had to pick one. I think it would have to be the final girl from Freddy vs. Jason. I liked Freddy vs. Jason, but I hated the female lead in that movie so bad. And Sarah from Halloween Resurrection, or yes, could count as one. And Renee Zellweger's character, I forget her name, but I forget most of the Texas Chainsaw Next Generation because I hate that movie to death. Her character from Texas Chainsaw Next Generation, like, she's probably dumber than the other two I mentioned. Like, every time, like the whole entire time, Renee Zellweger in that movie has a chance to escape the house. She never does. Like, during the time when Matthew McConaughey's randomly going batshit insane in that movie, like, she has an opportunity to leave the house. She never leaves the house either chance she gets. And pretty much causes herself trauma. Like, she blows her chances to escape in every single time. Until near the end. Like, but there's just a number of dumbass protagonists in horror movies. There's a rare time when a horror character will be smart and actually do something, but most of the time, a lot of protagonists in horror movies get downer endings because they're so stupid to try to escape. In almost every single bad horror movie. So yeah. But yeah, that's one big cliche with horror movies. Sometimes a number of idiots lead the film when it comes to the group of good guys. Like, man, oh yeah. Also, there's other ones I almost forgot about. The couple from The Strangers, that 2008 horror film. Like, I didn't mind The Strangers, but the characters in that movie are so stupid. There's also the mob from Halloween Kills. Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Yeah, aka the mob that doesn't even try to shoot Michael in the head at the end of Kills when they're all cornering him, and once they corner him, they don't even bother shooting in the head. They all got killed one by one, and or when they killed the wrong guy because they thought he was Michael. Oh my god. Oh yeah, that. I think her name is. Let me look up that girl from Saw 2. Let me look up her name for a second. What is her name? Alright. Alright. Okay, what? Oh, Addison Corday, yes. Even that character was so stupid. Like, in Saw 2, okay, guys. In Saw 2, is one of the victims, Addison Corday. So basically, that movie's set in this, where these 8 people have to get through this, survive this nerve gas house that's poisoning them. They go for certain traps, and, one trap involves one of the victims, Addison Corday, who stumbles into a room containing a box with some razor blade cup holder thingies with a syringe for the antidote. This trap was supposed to be for a guy that got killed by this eye hole that as soon as he unlocked the door, it shot his eye and killed him. It was meant to be for that guy. But Addison ends up finding the trap, so her trap was going to involve a waffle iron, but that trap did not get discovered because... But yeah, she finds this note, but she doesn't have the tape recorder to play the tape, so she throws it away, puts her hand in that cup holder thing to get the syringe out, but she ends up grabbing a run, and it spills all over. But even though that the syringe is now, the antidote is now spilled all over, there's no hope to grab it out. You think she would have just pushed her hand out, which would have freed her hand with her other hands, because it's too late to get that syringe. No, she doesn't do that. She sticks her other hand in the cup holder and dooms herself. She dooms herself to bleed to death. Yeah, that's how that trap, that True Fire Pink guy mention goes, for those who haven't watched the Saw films. But even the Saw characters have so many idiots. Like the first film, Lawrence Gordon, who's when he's trying to reach the phone, you think he could use the hacksaw to reach the phone that's out of his reach, or even just take off and try to use his shirt to grab it. No, instead he makes little effort to grab it. Even tries using the key box, but even he doesn't think of flipping that upside down, just using the lid of the box to grab the phone, to slide it towards him. But instead, he finally decides to go through with the trap thing, which technically he was supposed to do. Cuts off his foot, but after he cuts off his foot, he just goes through with what he's supposed to do. That's kill Adam, not even try to reach the phone, and then of course there's the third movie, which has the most dumbest protagonist of the franchise, Jeff, who just waits forever, is too angry at the victims to help them and get over his anger. I mean, yeah, they didn't really do... I mean, yeah, one of them did run over his son, one of them refused to testify against the driver, and one of them gave the driver a lighter sentence. But during this whole entire time, you could let go of your anger for just one moment and not be so stupid, and just literally stand there and do nothing. Like that just makes Jeff's probably the most hateable protagonist in the franchise. Like he kind of feels more like a villain just as much as Jigsaw, all because he refused to get over his grief, because he chose to stay all mad when these victims probably had families too. He does decide to save one of them, which is the judge, but then he stupidly gets the judge killed when he has to free his final victim, which was the guy who ran over his son. Grabs key out of the box and triggers a shotgun and shoots the judge instantly, even though the judge could have just tried to get out of the place instead of following Jeff to that other room stuff. And then of course he does, at the very end of the movie, the stupidest move of all. Now killing off John Kramer is a nice end to the Saw franchise, but the bad part of it, Jeff's wife or ex-wife has this collar that will go off and blow her head up if John dies. The first thing Jeff does, he grabs this buzzsaw, slits John's neck, and he stupidly gets his wife killed. And he realizes his daughter's now trapped. His daughter's now trapped in this room with little oxygen, but she does get saved in Saw 5, guys. Just a little heads up, but She does. She has little oxygen, and John knows is the only one who even knows. Yeah, agree. I'm gonna get to Bobby in a little bit. Don't worry. But but John's the only one who knows where his daughter is. So basically, Jeff almost doomed his daughter, stupidly doomed his wife and daughter to die by killing John Kramer. Like seriously. I mean, John wasn't really a good guy either. But if he wanted to kill John so bad, he could have just let him call an ambulance for Lynn, for his ex-wife, and then try to kill John once the caller was deactivated or taken off. Then he could have killed John or something. Then you could have did it, not stupidly do it when her caller's still active. Yeah, then you got Bobby from the 7th and final movie, aka the worst Saw movie ever. His motive, although technically his game wasn't really fair because he only really gets tested for lying about a trap. All for cashing in on Jigsaw fame. I definitely hate him, but I don't think he deserved to go through a torture game just because he lied about being in a Jigsaw trap. But he is pretty dumb too. In his game, he doesn't save a single fucking person. He is so stupid. He's even stupider than any of the other characters. Most of the time, during the time, he plans out all the games poorly. And, what's kind of worse is the people he has to save are actually innocent. Too. This game also involves the protagonist's wife. His wife did nothing wrong to be put in the Saw games just for being associated with Bobby. So that's but Bobby is unlikable, but this is also around the time Mark Hoffman was Jigsaw, so it's kind of clear Mark Hoffman made his game unwinnable, regardless, even if he was likable. I'm pretty sure Hoffman rigged the whole entire thing to make sure his game was unwinnable, because Hoffman is not sympathetic with his test subjects at all. He's bad at being Jigsaw. He doesn't show any sympathy for his victims. Yeah, and he's and Hoffman's probably the most. Bobby and Jeff are the most unlikable protagonists. Hoffman is the most unlikable apprentice ever in the Saw movies. Yeah, the fact that he's not a character I want to see succeed. But that was the one good thing of Saw 3D. At least Hoffman finally got killed off in Saw 3D. But back to Bobby, when it comes to the hooks for Bobby, you think he could have just put the hooks under his armpits. Yeah, John Kramer actually did his traps peacefully. He actually, John Kramer at least accepted that the law would come after him for this stuff, and often kind of sometimes would accept his arrests and find more clever ways to get out of them, or outsmart the cops. Hoffman just basically was reckless, broke laws, and even killed so many innocent cops that weren't even a part of his game with his own bare hands. And somehow literally refused to accept a single arrest or defeat, or accept the fact he was outsmarted. And before I get back to Hoffman, there's one more thing I gotta mention about Bobby with the hooks for his final test subject battle for his wife. He could have put the hooks under his armpits, and he probably would have had more of a chance of winning, and then hold on to the plugs before the hooks released or something, instead of putting the hooks through here like he said in his lie story to get out. But oh my god, yeah, Saw 3 is the worst. But back to Hoffman. But thankfully, Saw 3D, Hoffman actually gets outsmarted by Dr. Gordon, who locks Hoffman in the bathroom to die. So at least that was the one redeeming thing of Saw 3D. At least it finally killed off Hoffman. because that's the worst Saw. That's the worst Saw antagonist yet. But, but and the weirdest thing is they're now making another Saw movie next year. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, they greenlit another one. And I don't know if this is going to be either a sequel to Jigsaw. Yeah, that's a good name for a Doff Manator. But I don't know if this new Saw film is going to be for, or Saw X is going to be for either a sequel to Jigsaw or Spiral. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to being with a sequel to Jigsaw. Spiral's kind of just a spin-off, but Spiral's kind of the only sequel after 3 I like. Because, here's the thing. Before you get mad at me for liking Spiral, Spiral at least stopped rehashing the same story again. Like, they finally for once did something different while still having somewhat of a connection to Saw, but not doing the same story repeatedly. For once. They finally did something new. For a change, and yeah, and what's weird is it's the first. That was the first Saw movie to star famous actors like Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. The sad thing is, though, Samuel L. Jackson doesn't really have a lot of screen time in that movie. I feel like he deserved more screen time, really. But what else can I think? Thinking of some else, but the title Saw X. Remember that movie Jason X? What's this going to be about? Saw. It's like the Saw games going up into outer space, putting astronauts in torture traps, man. Because it's called Saw X. Jason X took Jason to space, and he killed people in space. So how could this go? That would be kind of creative to see, though, a Saw game all the way on the moon, or just in outer space outer space with a bunch of astronaut crews. God. But even Saw needs to stop. Like, Saw should have stopped after 3. Because at the end of 3, John Kramer actually died, and technically, the first 3 Saw movies are kind of supposed to be Kramer's story, hence why the protagonists keep getting killed off, because the series is kind of just supposed to be about Jigsaw, not really any of the protagonists. So yeah, it would have made more sense to end at 3, because it makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense how John Kramer would recruit a cop to be his apprentice. Like, what? But I don't know what else I can think of, but just dead empty. I mean, this fall I might try to be on YouTube a little more often, because technically people are usually back inside on the fall, or hardly ever going out. This summer was kind of supposed to be. This summer I kind of wanted to be a bit of a big break for me, because this summer, like, so many things were back, so many rules were lifted, and I wanted to do the things I couldn't do for 2 years this summer. Hence why I wasn't on YouTube that much. It's been a pretty good break so far. In the Leprechaun in the Hood. Oh, I've never watched the Leprechaun movies. But that sounds terrible. Leprechaun in the Hood. Saw in the Hood would be terrible too. But man, I've never watched the Leprechaun films. I've not seen Sleepaway Camp. Man, I haven't seen a lot of franchises. A lot of these horror franchises. I really should mean to. But this September I do plan to also watch Tremors. and I will plan to watch, and I will watch Anaconda from what Empire Fan Productions has said about it on the last Saturday night chat. So since apparently Anaconda is one of those so bad it's good movies, I might give it a watch. After all, because I do like those films sometimes. So I'll give it a watch after all. And I do plan to review Tremors this September, the first one. Yeah. And in September, I do plan to check on some of the streaming releases I kind of missed, catch up on those. And those films, review or rant on them depending my thoughts. I've heard they're goofy. Duh. Then they've oh yeah, and then we have a season 2 of Chucky coming out in October. Once again, I'm gonna wait for that season to come out on DVD like I waited for season 1. I did like the first season. There were some not good episodes, but despite that, it was actually a pretty good show. And I got kind of hooked on after season 1. So I'm gonna check out season 2 when all the episodes are out on DVD next spring, or when they come out on DVD, anyways. Because I don't think they're gonna skip DVD. They released season 1 on DVD and Blu-ray, so I don't think they're gonna skip releasing season 2 on DVD. Plus, it's not a straight to Netflix show. But I really hope, but even I hope Chucky the Chucky franchise in general just ends at some points. It's like as much as I like some of the sequels after Child's Play 3, like Bride and Curse, Child's Play 3 wouldn't have been a bad end to the series. I mean, Chucky got shredded and destroyed in Child's Play 3. Spoilers. It would have been kind of a good close there. But oh well. But it does need to end. I love Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad a lot. That's one of my favorite shows. I started watching in 2019, finished it in March 2020 when the lockdowns happened. Finished the whole season. Really loved the series. Saw the movie El Camino. Also enjoyed that. Good way to close off Jesse Pinkman's story. But yeah, I really love Breaking Bad. A lot. It's one of those shows that seems to get the hour-long episodes correct. I think of well, so God, I've not watched the prequel Better Call Saul. I'm not too big of a prequels person. The most overrated movie genre. Oh, that is a tough one. It's the rom-com genre. Definitely the rom-com genre. The rom-com genre is the most overrated genre ever. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some rom-com movies I like. Some rare ones, anyways. Like, Friends with Benefits I did like. Forgetting Sarah Marshall I did like. And The Proposal. Those three I did like. The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock I did like. For those who want to watch Ryan Reynolds in a somewhat more mature role, I would definitely recommend The Proposal. Because he's also very good in that film. But yeah, those are the only three rom-com movies I liked. Other than that, the rom-com genre is extremely overrated. Like, the point of them. Here's the plot of most of them. A lonely guy with no life is often considered a loser by people. Meets a girl who kind of has equal opposites. They see equal opposites of each other. They fall in love. Then there's a stupid argument and misunderstanding near the climax of the movie. The guy, but then the guy realizes he still has another chance. He makes it up to the girl. They become an official couple in the end, and they get married. Wow, happy ending. Oh my God, this is so cliche. Get a real story. How original. That's every rom-com movie basically goes. And it's annoying. Or sometimes they have a liar revealed cliche. Which is also one of the most annoying cliches ever. Speaking of movie cliches, you're probably wondering what I'm thinking of. Oh, Monty Python Holy Grail, I love that movie. I love that film, it's hilarious. It's the only Monty Python movie I've seen. Yeah. And I just say meep. When it comes to bad movie cliches, there's a lot of them. The ones I've mentioned. And then there's also the Disney death. Or the fake out death, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of people call it the Disney death. It's where a character's not dead. And then some of the characters just start crying. We know they're alive. Whole time, and then after 30 seconds of drama, they're alive. The whole time. Like, a lot of bad kids movies do this. Like, there's quite a few of these I can think of. Okay, what else? Oh boy. Why a lot of bad kids movies do this? Even the Ted movies do this cliche. As much as I do like the Ted movies, even the first two Ted movies do this stupid cliche. Like, those films, The Jungle Book does that cliche. Pokemon, the first movie, does that cliche. Those are quite a few examples. Like, that cliche is very annoying too. And it's quite an insult to the meaning of death. Like, I think the only time that cliche has ever worked was WALL-E. Because when WALL-E did it, it wasn't just 30 seconds and the character comes to life. No. With WALL-E, the title character who got this cliche was actually near death. Because he was already zapped by the antagonist Otto and had a low battery life. No parts on the ship could get him back to full battery life, and it was all back on Earth. So in his very last moments of life, he literally gets crushed to freaking death by a hollow detector, and actually seems seemingly dead and crunched the whole entire trip back to Earth. Once he gets back to Earth, as soon as Eve repairs him, it seems like it gets him back to full battery mode, but there's kind of a catch, though. WALL-E just doesn't magically come back to life and everything's all happy after. No. They do this in probably the most realistic scenario ever. When he comes back, he loses all his memory. He's now just every typical WALL-E bot who just cubes up garbage, has no memory of Eve. Like, they really trick you into thinking they're gonna end on a downer note, where the protagonist actually died. So, yeah. They actually make it look like he really died on that ship, but after like Eve kisses him, he regains his memory. It regains his memory. And then he comes back to life. That's how they do it. Yeah, so that's why WALL-E is one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. It's not afraid to be more mature, realistic, for a change, and it does that cliche well. There's no 30-minute bullshits, There's no crying. There's no like crying dialogue bullshits or anything like that. No, it's what would really happen. It's what would actually. It's actually they go a realistic scenario for once. And I wish more animated films or movies that do this cliche would try to do it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But and like, and I guess there's some. No, okay. Now I was gonna mention Toy Story 3, but that's not a Disney death. Like with Incinerate scene, but that wasn't a Disney death. Though. That was actually just characters about to accept their fates, which thankfully didn't happen. But top of my, what can I think of? Um, sorry guys, I keep losing thoughts. Well, I ain't got other thoughts. I'm just waiting for another question or something, and how am I gonna end the summer? Well, I am probably thinking of going to this thing called the Fair at the Peony that happens every end of the summer. That's how I'm gonna end the summer this weekend. Do something I hardly ever do. Which is this weekend, which is Labor Day weekend, and I remember when I was like a minor, back when I had school, I used to hate Labor Day weekend, because Labor Day weekend was pretty much always the very last week of freedom for me, and it meant I always had to go back to school and stuff, but I don't really hate that weekend anymore because I'm not in school anymore, and now I have a job, and then so I'm glad I don't have to go for that anymore. But yeah, so Birdemic? No, I haven't. What the heck is Birdemic? That sounds like a ridiculous title. Definitely not seen Birdemic. What the heck is Birdemic? The stupidest movie titles are Sharknado. That's definitely one. Oh wow, Birdemic is a bad movie. 1.7 out of 10 IMDb, only 22% Google users liked it, and 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. So my prediction was right. Sharknado's one. Those B-2007 movies like Transmorphers, aka Transformers, and the Seltzer Freeberg movie, and the Seltzer Freeberg movies that usually have the term certain genre movie as the name of it. Like films like Date Movie, Epic Movie, Disaster Movie, The Starving Games Meet the Spartans, Vampires Suck. Those guys. Those guys have the stupidest movie titles. Like, it all started because Scary Movie was such a box office success. A humongous box office success. That those two idiots got the idea of copying that movie's success. Something like, for those of you that wonder my thoughts on Scary Movie, it's, I kind of like it. I think it's too vulgar, but I don't like that it's way too vulgar and stuff. Like, that's kind of why I'm not a big fan of Scary Movie. I feel like it's way too, I feel like that movie is way too vulgar and excessive, and like, they could have toned down the vulgarness a little bit. But some jokes are kind of funny in it, but I'm not a fan of the sequels. I only kind of tolerate the first one. Alright, I think we're going to have to end this here, guys, but it was nice chatting with you all, and hopefully my next live Q&A hopefully will be a little more prepared, but yeah, peace out now. That'll be it for this live stream. Thank you all for watching. Yes, you are right. Scary Movie 2, I'll admit that. That is definitely true. Scary Movie 2 is definitely better than Seltzer and Freeberg. Anyway, thank you all for watching this live stream. If you like this, want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.